The Old Trapper's Lodge is one of California's remarkable 20th century folk art environments. It represents the life work of John N., 1897 to 1981, a self-taught artist who wished to pass on a sense of the Old West derived from personal experiences, myths, and tall tales from 1951 to 1981. Using his family as models and incorporating memorabilia, the Old Trapper follows his dreams and visions to create the lodge in its Boot Hill, a California registered historical landmark. It stood on the corner of San Fernando Road and Arvilla, which is technically Sun Valley. The mailing address was Sun Valley. And when I was a kid, my mom took me to see these weird sculptures, and it's one of the things Burbankers did. As you can see, he was a folk artist, not formally trained, but he was certainly ambitious and had a good work ethic, because there's a lot of his art around here. This is Pierce College, and when the Old Trapper's Lodge was broken up and disappeared, taken away, they brought a lot of his folk art up here. This is touching. This is in memorial to Mrs. John M. and Mrs. John M. Jr., pioneer mothers of the Old Trapper. Ironfoot Eva, there's her marker. 300-pound giantess, poetess and singer and blacksmith, killed on her wedding day by unknown. Did she really exist? I suspect not. We think he made up a lot of this stuff. Here's the Boot Hill markers.
There's two boots on
Loverboy Roy, 1850 to 1880. On a dark night, Roy saw a pretty wife by the flash of her husband's gun. Poor boy, all dark now. Boot Hill. This is clearly a guy who was in love with the history and traditions of the West. We think this is his self-portrait. Old Trapper John. John M. E-H-N. Pioneer hunter. This is a map of what I'm not entirely sure. It must have been the voyages of the Old Trapper. His wanderings. There's a totem pole. The one I remember the best as a kid were these. Lurid doesn't begin to describe them. This one is called Kidnap. You have these bizarre heads at the base of it, like metal teeth. I can't be sure. Kidnap. It looks like she's scratching his eyeball and turning it red. Yeah, it looks like there's some blood there. Somebody went crazy with the red enamel on these. This is the one I remember the best. The fight between Pegleg Smith, Big Bear, Mighty Americans, sculptured by the Old Trapper. When you drove up to this place and you saw this, you knew you were in an interesting spot. Obviously, he didn't get the proportions quite correct on this Indian. Big back, very tiny legs. And then you have these faces at the base of this. That's pretty interesting. Last Word Willie, 1818-1858, called his wife a big fat slob, had last word one last time. Boot Hill. Here's a toy rifle attached to the tombstone. This is Old Trapper's Lodge, corner of Arvilla and San Fernando. Mailing address, looks like 1034 Keswick, Sun Valley, California 91352. Established March 1941. Little Nell, 1830-1846. Lost in the big blizzard, we found her tiny footprints, feet prints in the snow, but where she died, we never know. Bill Boozer, fastest drunk in the West. He shot 11 sober men. And then you have some insulators, power line insulators. Cut Rate Kate. Gasoline fire burned her in store, but Fancy Nancy, her partner of yore, now runs... Can't read the rest of it. Interesting place. Lester Moore, 22 slugs from a .44, no less, no more.